Welcome to the Be Real podcast with your hosts, Joe Cebula and Bobby Maximus. Bobby, what is going on?
I just want to tell you that you don't work out that hard.
Thank you.
You don't
Tune in
grind.
next week.
You don't hustle. I mean, yeah. People just tuned out, right? Because we called them names or like made fun of them. But I want to be clear about something. Perception is not reality. You can feel a certain way. That doesn't make it true. I always say feelings are not facts. You can perceive something, like you can look in the sky and you can think that the sky is orange all you want. But if it's blue, the sky is blue. And when it comes to working out, Joe, there's a lot of people out there. And it's funny, we did a podcast and it was titled, "This is why you can't lose weight," or "This is why you aren't losing weight over 40. And one of the things we talked about is that you don't work out nearly as hard as you think you do. And I want to flush that out a little bit, because when you tell people they don't work hard, what is the automatic reaction, Joe?
I mean, they're going to fight back on that. Say, "Oh, I work out. Yeah,
they're angry.
My workouts are crazy. You couldn't keep up with me."
Yep. Perception is not reality. So I just want to go over some factual numbers here, Joe, to talk to you about why you don't work out that hard. Like, let's be real. So here you are. You're trying to get in shape and you think you're working out hard, but you're going based on feel. You're going based on perceived exertion. You're going based on how much you actually sweat during a workout. But when it comes to workouts, Joe, the numbers don't lie. So, you used to own a CrossFit gym.
Mm-hmm.
What's a good time for Fran? Remind me, what is Fran, first of all? And I'm going to use CrossFit as a big example in this because numbers are big in that community. So remind me what the Fran workout is.
So Fran is a 21-15-9 of thrusters and pull-ups.
Okay. So for people that don't know what 21-15-9 is, you do 21 thrusters. A thruster is a front squat push press. At what weight? What's the RX weight?
95 pounds for males.
95 pounds, okay, for a male. And then you do 21 pull-ups. And then you immediately do 15 reps of each. Then you immediately do 9 reps of each. Is that how that works?
Yep.
Okay. What's a good time for Fran?
Like the best in the world will do it in under 2 minutes.
Okay. So if the best in the world, we'll call elite under 2 minutes, what's a great time then? Is 3 minutes
like around
great?
like 4.
Okay.
Like if you're doing it around 4 minutes, you're doing pretty good.
Okay. What's just a good mid-range type of score?
I would say close to that. Like maybe like a 5 to 6 minute Fran is pretty acceptable.
Okay. And what's a bad score?
Like anything over 10.
So would you see beginners come into your gym and get a 10?
Never.
Would you see beginners come into your gym and get a 9 or an 8?
No.
What would like a beginner get walking into your gym?
Honestly, they'd be lucky to even finish the workout. And I've seen guys who work out. You know, I go to the gym every day. They got good musculature, come in and not be able to finish.
Okay, so you're going the other way.
I got to cut them off in like 20 minutes.
I totally misconstrued that. I thought you said like 10 was god awful slow and people would never. You've got people literally coming in the gym that cannot finish that workout. Like 10 minutes is out of reach for them, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. So you're the person who's working out. You think you're fit. You think you're elite. You think you bench press 315 in high school. You think you do X, Y, and Z. But your Fran time's 9 minutes or 10 minutes. The best in the world are doing it under 2. A good time is 4 or 5 minutes. I don't care who you think you are, what math you're doing in your head. If it takes you 9 or 10 minutes to do this thing or you can't finish it, you are not working out that hard. You are not that fit.
Right.
Now let's take running. And I'm actually going to pull a number live on Google right now, Joe. What does the average person run a mile in? Numbers don't lie. Here we go. According to data from Strava, The average person runs a mile in around 9 minutes and 53 seconds, Joe. Non-competitive runners typically run a mile in 9 to 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
New runners may take 12 to 15 minutes to run a mile, and elite runners can complete a mile in 4 to 5 minutes. There are the numbers. Numbers don't lie. So you think you're working hard. You think you're fit, and you go to run a mile, and it takes you 14 minutes. You're not a good runner. Yeah. Non-competitive runners are running it in 9 to 10 minutes. Brand new people that have never worked out before are doing it in 12 to 15. If the best you can do is 14 minutes, Joe, I'm sorry, you're not a good runner. You can pull these numbers for everything. This is the beauty of the internet today.
Mm-hmm.
What does the average male, I love doing this, by the way, bench press? Here we go. According to most fitness data, the average male can bench press between 160 and 215 pounds, with the exact amount depending on factors like age, body weight, and weightlifting experience. For an untrained man, a respectable bench press might be around 135 pounds, while a more advanced lifter could bench significantly more. I remember reading a stat, you might need to help me on this, that if you could bench 225 pounds, you were literally in the top 3% of the world when it comes to strength. So here you are.
Without a doubt.
You think you're working out hard. You think you're doing something. And you go lay down on the bench press and you can barely bench press 135 pounds. You're less than average.
Mm-hmm.
You're not that good. Again, numbers don't lie. So here's why I'm telling you this. I get it. Your feelings are hurt now. You're tuned out. You're miserable. You're defensive. Bobby and Joe are calling me names. But here's why I'm trying to tell you this, Joe. You might need to up your game.
Mm-hmm.
You might need to track better. You might need to put in more effort. Do you remember that post I put in about the, and I got to look it up, Joe. It was about fitness tests the average person should pass, but they cannot.
Yep.
What did I call that? I'm going to search it on.
Fitness standards, every man.
Yeah, let's look it up. I think this is really important to go over numbers, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm looking up average. Okay. And, sure enough, I can't find it, right? But
I think you have a list in your book too, don't you?
I do have my standards.
And those are even higher than what you had posted.
Oh yeah. Well, those are standards for people that actually work out. But I am looking for fitness tests. Here we go, Joe. 8 basic fitness tests every adult should be able to pass. You ready for this?
Let's go.
And I want you to listen to this. If you're listening to this podcast, there's going to be 8 things, and I want you to check them off the list to see if you can do this or you can't do this. 3 consecutive pull-ups. That's chin all the way above the bar from a dead hang. Can you do 3 consecutive pull-ups? If you can't, you're not that fit. Your training is probably not as hard as you think it is. Run a mile in 10 minutes. If you can't run a mile in 10 minutes, Joe, you're probably not that fit. 10 straight push-ups. You can't do 10 straight push-ups, and I'm not talking about half push-ups. I'm talking about chest to ground, full extension. You're not that fit. Deadlift. I know what you're going to tell me. The deadlift's going to hurt your back, but if you can't deadlift your body weight, Joe, you're not that fit. If you can't squat your body weight, you're not that fit. If you can't bench press your body weight, you're not that fit. 10 burpees in 60 seconds. That's chest to deck and a jump of 6 inches at the top. You're not that fit. And the 8th is, can you row a 2,000 meter in 10 minutes? Now, none of these by any means are elite standards.
No, not at all.
We have elite standards for this. You mentioned my book.
Mhm.
15 pull-ups, run a mile in 6 minutes, 50 straight push-ups, deadlift 2 times your body weight. None of these are elite.
Yep.
These are basic fitness tasks. But I'm going to interview you, Joe Cebula.
Okay.
Are you the most fit you've ever been in your life?
Probably not, but not that far off.
Okay. Can you qualify for the CrossFit Games?
Yeah, no.
No. Would you consider yourself, when it comes to, I'm talking elite athletes, like we're talking decathletes, we're talking people of the Olympics. Are you an elite level athlete?
I don't think so.
Okay, fair. I'm a 46-year-old man.
Mhm.
I'm not qualifying for the CrossFit Games. I'm not
No.
winning a gold medal in the decathlon. But let's be clear. Can you do 3 consecutive pull-ups, Joe?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Can you run a mile in 10 minutes?
Yep.
10 straight push-ups?
Yep.
Can you deadlift your body weight? What do you weigh?
230.
Can you deadlift 230, Joe?
Freaking better be able to.
I laugh
Yeah.
because it's like, right? Like you could probably deadlift 600 pounds right now.
Yeah.
Can you squat your body weight, Joe?
Yes.
Can you bench press your body weight, or is 230 pinning you and killing you on the internet for the world to see?
Probably for 10.
Okay. Can you do 10 burpees? Here's my point, Joe. You're how old?
46.
You're 46. You're not a competitive athlete. You wouldn't describe yourself as an elite athlete walking around. And these things you could do easily. I'm going to say I could break one of your arms, one of your legs, shatter your hip, load you up with drugs, and wake you up in the middle of the night. And you could probably do those fitness tests.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again,
Like if you told me my workout today was to do like all of those tests, that wouldn't even be like a full workout, to be honest.
Right,
That's
Joe,
like
this is your workout today. I want you to do 3 pull-ups. I want you to deadlift, like we're going to set up this little circuit, right? My point is, and again, it's not to be mean to you. It's not to hurt your feelings. But A, I want you to do 2 things. 1, I want you to examine your self-imposed limitations that you've put up on yourself. I want you to examine your goals. When I say you should be able to deadlift body weight and your immediate reaction is, that's hard, I'll hurt my back, that's excessive, that's crazy. I read all the comments on the internet when I put this up. Who put 3 pull-ups in a 10-mile run in the same category as bench pressing your body weight? Bench pressing your body weight's impossible for women. My wife does it for like 20 reps. Listen, it's not that bad. You need to examine your goals. And I will tell you this, Joe, when you set a goal, when you set a limit, you make that thing hard by default. If I say, Joe, what's your goal? And you say, I want to run a mile in 6 minutes. That would be amazing. That would be great. That would be the pinnacle of fitness. Are you ever really going to get to 5:30? No, you're going to get 5:59, 5:58. It's going to be crushingly hard, and you're going to give up. Meanwhile, there's kids in high school that can run a sub 4.
Yeah.
Just to be clear. So when you set that at 6 minutes, you're going to make that standard hard. The Boston Marathon. Let's look this up, Joe. We're all about the Google today.
Yeah.
But
Facts, man. Can't argue.
What's the time for a Boston Marathon? 3:10?
Yeah, I think so.
So you
Didn't they
hold
just change it this year?
I think so, but let's go with 3:10.
Okay.
You think that that's the pinnacle of running, the pinnacle of fitness, qualifying for the Boston Marathon. You qualify for the Boston Marathon. You're an elite runner. There were 24,000 people last year who qualified for the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
24,069 qualified applicants, to be exact. So my question is, you hold this up as the elite standard of fitness that nobody can do. You've never met somebody that qualified for Boston. It's your lifelong goal. There's 24,000 people last year did it, Joe. Right?
You know, I'm so glad you brought up the self-imposed limitations, because I think that is such a thing for people. Like if I ask you like how many push-ups you can do, you're always going to give me like a round number. Oh, I could do 20. I could do 30, whatever that number is. Nobody will ever say I can do 33.5 push-ups.
Exactly.
Because they're not willing to push themselves all the way to that limit. And again, that it'll change. It might be 35 today. It might only be 30 tomorrow. But like, if you're not testing it, if you're not pushing, if you don't know what your limit feels like, you're just going to pick a round number and be like,
and
yeah,
if you say 30, you'll never do 31.
Exactly.
You will stick at 30. So you need to examine your standards. If every single person you knew, that list I had, Joe, if every single person you knew could do 3 pull-ups, you would do 3 pull-ups.
Yeah.
You'd figure it out. Maybe not on day one, but you figure it out. I see this in the women's community all the time. And you've seen this in your CrossFit gym. Well, you used to own a CrossFit gym, not anymore, but you have 4 women that are all deadlifting around 185 pounds. And 200 pounds is the magic number. It's this mythical number that women will never deadlift over 200 pounds. It's just not going to happen. And then one day you mismatch plates on the bar and one of those women does over 200 pounds. The next week, the other 3 will do over 200 pounds because it made it safe to do so. Your back didn't explode. You didn't look like a man. You didn't put on all kinds of muscle. Like whatever you've been telling yourself in your brain, that now fixes, right? And you've seen this happen a million times. I hear women just can't do pull-ups. I know plenty of women that can do pull-ups for 6
and again,
months.
as soon as one in the gym does a pull-up, then 10 more figure it out. It just
makes
magic.
it safe. So you need
there are two challenges that you've given me in my fitness career that I thought were the most eye-opening. And they're all about killing your governor.
Yep.
And the first one, I remember being at a seminar and we were talking about this. We were talking about how people don't know how much work they're actually doing. They think they're doing a ton of work. And what you challenged was, take like a fun size Snickers bar. What are they, like 200 calories, 150 calories, whatever they are. Do that on a rower. Like sit and do that amount of work and get a sense for how much work 150 calories can be. And then the other one, and this is one of my all-time favorites, is a minute all out on the fan bike. Like legitimately all out. You think you know what working hard is? How many calories can you burn on a fan bike in 60 seconds? How hard are you willing to push into that? Because some people will fall off at 30, some people will hit 70. Like, what's the difference? And until you test yourself, until you know what that feels like, and then go to the gym and realize, well, this is not nearly as hard as that 1 minute of effort that I gave that one time, you have no perspective, no idea of how hard you're actually working.
And this is all centered around the same thing. It's getting rid of those limits. Yeah. The second thing I need you to do is I need you to work harder. Now, that's rather esoteric. I'm not giving you a definition. I don't know what your fitness level is. I don't know if you're one of the people that we went over all those numbers that does Fran in 2 minutes. You're probably not doing it in 2 minutes, but 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, or can't finish. I don't know if you're one of the people that runs the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, the 9, the 10, or the 30-minute mile. I have no idea. But I want you to just give me 10% more effort every time you go in the gym. You do 60 push-ups, I want you to try for 66. You do 10, I want you to try for 11, Joe. You do 20, I want you to go for 22. You run a 6-minute mile. Actually, what does that work out to? A 6-minute mile. How many seconds?
Geez, 360?
360. I want you to take 36 seconds off your time. 10%. You run a 10-minute mile, Joe. That's 600 seconds. I want you to try for a 9. I just want you to try to do 10% better across the board. Now, maybe you don't get that. Maybe 10% is a lot to ask, but you do 5% better. You do 3% better. You do 8% better. I promise you.
Maybe just use that as a new standard.
Yep.
You know, like, hey, I PR'd. I got 10 push-ups at the gym today. Your next goal is 11.
11.
And when you get to 20, your next goal is 22.
22, just constantly.
Always 10% on what you just did.
By 10%, if that's all you did, you would solve most of your fitness problems. And I think you'd figure out that the old me, the old you, didn't work as hard as you think you did. You weren't as strong as you thought you were. You weren't putting in as much effort as you thought you were, and it will unlock a whole new path for you. So our ask at the end of this episode of the Be Real podcast is examine your goals, examine your self-imposed limitations, and 2, just give us 10% more. You like this podcast? Like, subscribe, comment. Even if you hate it, comment. Please engage, share it with your friends, and tune in for the next episode.